Please don't try anything done in this video. This is done for entertainment purposes, as these actions are past actions, not recent. And if you are going to use any substances, ask a doctor or do research on it. Probably mostly just do research on it, given that doctors and also friends or other people can lie. And don't do anything illegally off the street for safety purposes, or at least go to a state where said substance is legal. And thank you. Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about how me and this fucking coworker stole a bunch of beer. Not really a bunch, but stole some beer. And the day started off pretty normal. I had my coffee, have a few cigarettes in the morning. Went throughout the day at work, and then a coworker decided he wanted to hang out for a minute. We were kind of friends for a little bit. And I smoked the other day, had like some other caffeine, like an energy drink and these caffeinated chocolates. So maybe I was already pretty stimulated that day. He was keeping up the act of consuming dangerously high amounts of caffeine while I was like 16. And this is way back. Like when I was 16, and I was working at one of the shady fast food places I worked at, the first one, I guess. And just kind of went through the day, and he wanted to hang out. So, I mean, later on, he ended up taking me home. I ended up grabbing some of the cigarettes I had, and eventually we went to a not a convenience store, but an old grocery store that was kind of out a while. We were not owned by different people, but and we ended up just kind of chilling for a minute, and then he went to the store, and later on I actually did go in the store for a little bit, but not very long, just to look at some things, didn't actually touch anything. You would normally apparently just either walk around for a while or do multiple different things. And while we were there, he ended up staring at the... I was already back in the car, but while he had like some beers in his car, neither of us, I think, were 21 at the time. Pretty sure he was 19 as well. He ended up just staring at the clerk and walked right out of the doors after staring her down for it. Genius plan, but we somehow got away with it, and later on we ended up going to a different store because neither of us had a bottle opener, and neither of us had the time to open bottles without one. So we ended up going to a different store while smoking a bunch, and like we burned through like 4 or 5 cigarettes before we actually got there, and then he ended up snagging a bottle opener, which then we later on just went kind of like on a dirt road or something, which is when I started to drink. I think I went through like 3 or 4 beers by then while he was driving. And we were later on deeper into the mountains, kind of just driving around. Because this is like not a big town, there's not many places you can go, not much you can really do here. You know, I was already getting pretty tipsy, which for me, drunk is more like everything just kind of gets more gray than anything else for me. Not really traditional slurring speech and stuff like that normally, unless I consume a lot all at once. If I consume it slow, mostly everything just turns into a grayer pigment than it originally was. Apparently that's just because I've always had HPPD, but I mean, I guess that makes sense. I probably also shouldn't even be remotely alive to begin with, so that's not much of a surprise. Yeah, we mostly just talked, hung out, and I was just pretty much drinking. There's like a few times where I got work because there was cops around. And later on, during the night, he ended up taking me back to, like, we went to a park, and while he was there, he ended up eating some powder that was on all the tables, and then, which I'm pretty sure was actually just coke. So he just ate random cocaine. It's really, those gums and shit. Then we kind of just went back out into the mountains. I just kept drinking. That was like when I was getting really drunk. I was still smoking a lot. We ended up going to like a few different places. Like there was a lake we ended up driving to, and then later on we drove back to the park, which we shouldn't have been there at night. That was actually when they first installed cameras, so it was a terrible idea to go there. Just started doing that because there was a lot of drug activity there, which makes sense. And well, he ended up having his first beer. He only drank like half a beer, and I just ended up scoring the rest of it. And that's when a bunch of cops ended up following us around. And he had like this ashtray, well, not really ashtray, it was his, one of those little car openers, like cup holder things, or charger holders. And he was just putting cigarettes out in there, so it was just saturating ash. And I ended up just tossing like one of the lit, unfiltered cigs in there. So there was like smoke coming out of there and stuff. And then we got pulled over, and so I was asking if we were drinking or anything. And we just kept telling him no, we were just smoking. That's it. And he warned us not to go anywhere near the park. Luckily, they couldn't actually tell if we were drinking. I kind of found out later on part why people can't tell is because at most my eyes just look really dilate to an absurd degree, or as if I took something else, not drinking. I didn't even know that back then, up until now. Really. And later on I ended up going home. It's alright. It's still pretty drunk. I still have one more beer, so I just ended up putting it back. And it was surprisingly okay throughout the whole story. Don't do any of those things, especially with stealing. And realistically, wait till you're 21 before you start drinking. It's not a good idea to drink at any other time. And the lesson of the story is don't just run around like a dumbass and drink and smoke cigarettes like a maniac and assume that you're not going to get in any type of trouble, especially if you're doing multiple illegal things that you shouldn't be doing whatsoever. Yeah, that's it for this video.